In this tutorial, you're going to get a complete walkthrough of the WPMUDEV security, performance, and SEO modules. These are services you can provide to customers and have them pretty much completely automated using WPMUDEV. And this ties into the 4-part tutorial series on WPMUDEV. And the end goal, by the end of it, you'll be charging your clients monthly fees without doing a whole lot of work. WPMUDEV is going to do all the heavy lifting. And the entire series of videos is in its own playlist. It's linked to in the description down below, so make sure you check that out. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below this video. I try to answer them the best I can. My name is Bjorn Allpass from WP Learning Lab, where we help you get better at WordPress so you can earn more for yourself, for your customers, and for your business. And if you haven't done so yet, click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss new future videos. Now let's get started. And before we get started, I want you to know there's a link in the description down below that has a 20% discount to any and all services and plans with WPMUDEV. If you click on that link, the URL is going to look something like this, and it's going to have coupon equals WP Learning Lab members, and all the prices down here are going to be reduced by 20%. The reason they're not right now is because this coupon doesn't go live until November 1st, and it's currently October 27th. And that 20% is off of your first payment. So if you go with a personal monthly plan, you'll get 20% off the first monthly payment. However, if you go for a yearly plan, for example, an agency yearly plan, you get 20% off of the entire year for agency. That one's of much greater value. So keep that in mind. It's 20% off the very first payment. Now we're going to look at security, performance, and SEO. Each of these is a different plugin that you install and configure on your site or a client's site. And each of these has their own tab that you can configure inside of the website in the hub of WPMUDEV. So let's start with security. And we see here a notification, welcome to your new security tab. You can click the X to make that go away. We have 15 total issues right now. Potential malware, as it shows in this tab. Email notifications are off. We have 9 recommendations, 3 are actioned, email off. Shows our current version of PHP, current version of WordPress, and all of our reports are currently off. There's also more you can activate down here. Firewall, block list monitor, audit logging, advanced tools, 2-factor authentication, and web application firewall security, or WAF or WAF security. This is only available if you're hosting your site on WPMUDEV. If you've connected to a site that's hosted outside of WPMUDEV, the WAF security is not possible. You can still have a firewall though, so that's something. We're going to activate all these and we're going to go through their settings as well. And there we are, they're all active and they each get their own tab inside of this overview report. So let's start with our security issues. There are 15 in total. If we click on these, it'll take us down to the recommendations tab. We can click on view all. That'll take us into the website where the scan actually occurs. And we can see our security recommendations listed right here. Disable XML RPC. If you click on the rows beside any one of these, it shows more information about it. XML RPC is commonly used as an attack vector for brute force attacks, but it's also used for the WordPress mobile app. It says that right here. It is also used for remote blogging where you publish via email. If you do either of those things, then you don't want to disable XML RPC. Updating the latest version of WordPress. That's also very important. That's going to be done automatically tonight because we've set our backup schedule to run automatically every single day at midnight. Update old security keys. These are inside the WP config file. My current keys are very old, as you can see. You can have WPMUDEV generate them automatically if you want every 60 days. Every 30 days, doesn't really matter. The only thing that'll happen when these are updated is if you're logged in, you're going to be booted out of the site and you have to log back in to have the new keys and salts applied to your login. I'm going to set that for 30 days and I'll click on regenerate keys. So it happens right now. You have to log in again because that's what happens whenever the keys and salts are reset. Manage login duration. By default, WordPress users are logged in for 14 days if they click Remember Me. I'm going to change this to 1 day. Update that. Disable trackbacks and pingbacks. These can lead to a lot of spam comments and in rare cases, denial of service attacks or DDoS attacks. Basically, a trackback or a pingback is a notification that some other website has mentioned you. These were pretty common years and years ago. You used to be able to go into the comment section and see a list of pingbacks or trackbacks of other sites that link to your specific blog post. You don't see it very much anymore, and maybe this is the reason. And you can turn those off by clicking on Disable Pingbacks right here. You can prevent user enumeration. This is part of the methods that hackers and hacker bots use to brute force websites. They have to find your username or a username on your site and guess the passwords. To find usernames, they can use this little trick right here where they type in your domain name followed by / author equals 1 or author equals 2, and that will redirect to the author page where they can find the username. And after that, they just have to try to guess your password. By clicking on prevent down here, we're going to be preventing the redirects from / author equals 1 or author equals 2 to the author page. So I'll click on prevent here, disable the file editor. This is under appearance. We have a theme editor, and under plugins, we have a plugin editor. Both of these can be used to inject malicious code. However, the hacker first has to have access to your site. And once they do, if these options are available, it makes it easier for them to inject code. To close those off, click on Disable File Editor. And now if I refresh and then go to Appearance, the theme editor link is gone. Under Plugins, the plugin editor link is gone. You can also prevent information disclosure. This occurs when the server is not properly configured and hackers can get access to files they shouldn't, like your config file, your htaccess file, your backup files, without actually having access to your server. They can still get to those if it's improperly configured. And down here we can fix it, whether we have Apache or any of these other servers. Just click on the tab and it'll show how to fix it. And sometimes it'll just say add whatever file type is. For Apache and Lightspeed and ISS7 it does that. You can just update the files or add the files, and that will make sure the information disclosure is prevented if it was even a case on your server. Just because this warning shows up doesn't mean that's an actual problem on your specific server. So you might not even need to do this, but it doesn't hurt to do it. And if something goes wrong, you can revert back at any time to the original htaccess file if you use one of these automatic update buttons. There's also manual instructions if you want to do it manually. You just copy and paste this into your htaccess file. I'm just going to do it automatically by clicking on update.htaccess file. Updated, prevent PHP execution. This is when a hacker uploads a PHP file that can be executed on your server and it runs malicious code. This can happen through plugin or theme vulnerabilities that are often found through plugins and themes that aren't kept up to date. We're going to prevent this automatically by clicking on update right here. And now we have everything done that we want to have done. This one we're not going to disable, so we can continue to use the mobile app or publish via email, or even connect to services like IFTTT, if this and that, or Zapier. And this one is going to be updated tomorrow morning because I have automatic updates enabled through WPMUDEV. And if you're finding this tutorial helpful, click the like button because that helps this video show up for more people on YouTube so we can spread the knowledge and help more people with this information. So make sure to click like if you like this video. On the left-hand side here, we see Defender Pro. That's the current security plugin we're working in. And we see all of these options here. A lot of those coincide with our options and our tabs inside the hub. We're going to rescan now to see what our new number of issues is. And we see now instead of 9, there's 15. This is drawing issues from a different location. We see we still have 2 to be actioned. That's the XML RPC file and update WordPress. But we have 15 over here under malware detection. If we click on this, we can see what WPMUDEV thinks are malware issues. And it turns out these ones are 14 file changes and 1 known vulnerability. We have a bunch of suspicious files listed here, and in the middle we see the details. If you click on the down chevron here or inside this row, we see more details. And this is an error log. This is more than likely added by the server in SiteGround. It might not be a WordPress core file, but it's not malicious. It's an error log. Editor styles for right to left is not a WordPress core file, but it got in there somehow. And here we see the file itself, and it's a CSS file. Commonly, there aren't malicious codes in CSS files. And this is more than likely a legitimate file. I'm not sure where it comes from. If it's not part of the WordPress core, it might be a plugin that's added that. And here's a minified version. Editor styles and a minified version of that. Another PHP error log, FTP quota that's added by the server. .well known as a hidden directory. This is added by SiteGround. It also doesn't belong to the WordPress core, and we know that. So by looking through all these files and investigating whether or not they're legitimate or not, which you can often see based on the code that's in there, or even just having some experience and being around servers and working with servers and hosting accounts and knowing that these files are added in by the host, you can tell that these are all fine. And default.html is also not in the WordPress core, and I'm not even sure what this is. We can navigate to this page. Actually, it should be a live page. It's in the public_HTML folder, which means we can go to ourbeingwithfamily.com / and that file name. And this is a SiteGround file. I couldn't tell by the name of it, but I can tell by seeing it. This is the coming soon page when your site is being created. So this is a file that we could go ahead and delete because we don't need that anymore because the site's been created. So we can click on delete for that one. And all the other ones we can, here's another one, ads.txt. This is from Google AdSense. AdSense requires you add this file. Let's go to the second page. Looks like there's more. This is a verification file for Google Webmaster Tools. Another PHP error log. This is a verification for Pinterest. This is duplicate page, a plugin with the vulnerability found. And I bet there's an update to that. I haven't updated plugins in a while. They're going to be auto-updated tonight, as I've said many times. And duplicate page probably has an update there. It's got an update, and I bet that this will be gone when that's updated. Let's update this now because it's a vulnerability. We don't want to keep those around. In fact, I don't even really use that plugin anymore. I could just delete it. Anyway, that's now updating. And all these other ones, I'm just going to ignore them. Let's check this box to check all of them, uncheck that one, and then choose ignore. And now we're back on page 1. Check this box, and these are all the ones we saw before. They're all files that we know. Click on ignore and apply all those. Now it's just this one, and we've been successfully updated. So let's go ahead and rescan and see if all those problems have been fixed. While that's running, let's talk about email notifications. Each of these sections has an email notification box, or most of them do. Click on the gear for the settings of those email notifications. And so these first 3 are notification emails for various things happening on your site. The second 3 are for scheduled reporting or scheduled scans that are run. So for example, if you want to turn on the firewall notification email, click on the plus, and then you can configure the recipients and all that kind of stuff right in here. And then those people who you configure to receive this email will receive it if a user or IP is locked out for trying to access your login area. Now our scan is done. We have 0 total issues, which is awesome. We're going to schedule a security scan. So it runs on a scheduled basis. And now it's going to take us back to the website, to that same page we're just on. And the malware scanning is that one that we just clicked on. Click on the plus. We can schedule to be daily, weekly, or monthly. And we can choose the day of the week and the time of day. Or for daily, just the time of day, or monthly, the day of the month and the time of day. I'm going to choose daily because security issues are pretty important. I'm going to choose 6 a.m. The scans don't take very long, and this is before I would be in the office, and it'll be really up to date. If I chose 9 a.m., I'd be in the office already. If I checked my security scans first thing, then I wouldn't get the latest updates. So I want to choose, for me, a time of day that's right before I get into the office so that I can look at my security scans as they're coming in fresh. Click on continue, and we can choose who gets those reports. Right now, the admin gets them, and we can also choose other members on the website. I'm going to click on continue to have just the admin get it. Send notifications when no issues are detected. So this is just verification that the scan actually happened. You can turn that on or not, but I prefer to reduce the number of emails I receive. So I'm not going to turn that on. I'm going to click on activate, and now we have a scheduled scan. We have a recipient here. We'd see more if more recipients were getting this, and the scan schedule is over here. Now if I go back to the hub and I refresh, we see our next scheduled scan is October 27th, which is tomorrow at 6 a.m. So that's pretty sweet. The firewall registers lockouts and 404 lockouts. So if people are trying to access, or IPs or bots or whoever is trying to access your login page and trying to log in and get locked out, we'd see them here. If they're just probing your site to find different kinds of pages but getting lots of 404s, that's a 404 lockout. We'd see that show up here. And these also have lots of settings inside of the gears. all these tabs, most of these tabs have settings. The block list monitor, this checks Google every 6 hours, I believe. Last check was to date 9, next one to date 3. Yeah, so every 6 hours, it checks to see if your website is on Google's block list, which is important to know. If you end up on there and you want to find out why you're on there and get yourself off of there. So this is an important one to have activated. Audit logging records all the events on your site. We currently have 3 events logged, which is probably the stuff I've been doing on there. You can click on view logs to see what those events actually are. And we see them right down here. I updated this plugin and then I failed to log in with that username and then logged in successfully with that username. I don't recall the failed login. That's not my IP address, so this is probably someone trying to hack into the site. So that's sweet, live on camera. If there's multiple failed logins for that person or that IP or whoever, they'll be locked out because of our firewall settings. Also, we have two-factor authentication. It is turned on. If we click on the gear, need to set this up once it's turned on. This is turned on for all the user roles right now. I'm going to turn it off for the subscriber and contributors. There's an option for if they lost their phone, they can have an email received, a one-time email. There's a bunch more settings that are really well explained in these little blurbs here. We use Google Authenticator. You can use Microsoft Authenticator or Authy. Those are all great options. And you can also deactivate two-factor authentication. Save changes. So the next time I sign in, I'll have to set up two-factor authentication to be able to log in again. And we can see our reports down here. This is when we turned on. We haven't turned on firewall reports or audit logging reports. Just click on these links. Goes back to the site. You can configure them by clicking on the plus icon and setting them up. The advanced tools, mask login area allows you to hide the URL of your login area. And you have all these advanced security options that you can turn on really easily. And that is the security plugin. Let's hop over to performance. This is the Hummingbird plugin. It shows your site's performance. Google page speed score right here, 96 on desktop, 53 on mobile. You can run the test whenever you want. It also shows the most recent test, which are these results here. We have response times listed here. The response time shows the response time in milliseconds for your site. Image optimization. WP Smush does image optimization for you. Click on the gear to configure it. There's a little walkthrough. Click on Begin Setup to start the configuration for WP Smush. Turn on automatically optimize new uploads. Optimize images up to 2 times more. Yes, please. Let's keep that on. Strip my image metadata. That works for me. Some people need the image metadata, but I don't. So I'm going to turn that on. Compress my full-size images. Whenever you upload an image to WordPress, it saves a full-size version and makes a bunch of smaller versions to use in various parts of the website. You can compress the full-size ones if you want by turning this on. If you do not want to compress the full-size ones, keep this off. I'm okay with having that on. And they also keep a copy of the original in case you want to revert back. Lazy load, I'll turn that on. This is when images load as you scroll down the page. They don't load all at once. And allow usage data tracking. This would be to improve the product. You can turn that on or off. The tracking is anonymous, so it's okay to turn it on, but I'll just keep mine off. And here we see our stats for smushing images. Currently, I have ShortPixel installed on this website, so there isn't a whole lot to compress. Even though it's found 101 attachments right here, you can click on Bulk Smush and it'll smush all of them. This is probably the original images that I don't compress with ShortPixel. I just keep those as they are, and then ShortPixel compresses all the derivatives of the originals. We also have more settings down here. Image resizing is turned off, but it's useful. All very well explained. I don't see any mention of WebP. Let's look for it. There's no mention of WebP here. Maybe a different add-on creates images in WebP for you, but WP Smush does not, it appears. So that's our image optimization tab. We have our speed test tab, more data from Google PageSpeed Insights. We see they're all green, so that's fantastic. We have audits, which shows you specific things that you can improve on. If you view the details, it'll show you more details down here. This is pretty similar to the stuff that you get from Google PageSpeed Insights. Ensure text remains visible during web font load. Avoid large layoff shifts. Largest contentful paint element. One element found. Background image. So here you can go through and fix these things. There's no button to fix them easily though for those ones. Everything else is done quite well. We have historic field data. This is data that Google collects on other sites that are similar. I have never actually pulled in data from historic field data in Google PageSpeed Insights, but apparently it's there for other people. gzip compression is currently turned off for HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. We're going to turn those on. Click on the headline, and here we see they're inactive. And if you have an Nginx server, you've got to copy and paste this into this file right here, or this one right here. Just follow the instructions and I'll tell you where. This site is currently hosted on SiteGround, so I can switch to Apache and click on Apply Rules. That's much easier. And now it'll just update this for you, or you can do it manually if you're more comfortable with that. Now those three are active. It's not going to reflect instantly over here, but it will eventually. Here we have caching stats. Here we have advanced tools, all of them well explained within the documentation of any of those options. And we have reports for performance tests and uptime reports that you can schedule and configure. Just click on one of those, scroll down, turn on send performance reports, configure it all here, time of day, all that kind of stuff. Customize which devices you want to test or both, what kind of results you want inside of the report, and that's then sent out on the schedule that you set. We also have asset optimization, which allows you to compress, combine, and position page assets. Let's click on activate to turn that on, and activate again. And this is now going to check all the assets that are loaded onto the front end, and then we can change them using the settings that will appear. 106 assets were found. Next, we optimize the file structure by turning on compression and moving files in order to speed up your page load times. Big warning, this is an advanced feature that can break themes easily. We recommend modifying each file individually and checking your front end regularly for issues. Got it. And you can go through all the settings on these pages, which are all clearly explained. And the most important one was that warning that says when you make these changes, it might affect your website. So do them one at a time and check your website to make sure it still works after you make that change. If it doesn't, undo that change. So that's the asset optimization. If we refresh here, that's going to be a card now on the performance tab. At least I thought it would be. Oh, here it is right here. There's our new card. And that's the performance tab. Now you might be thinking to yourself, that's a lot of settings. We've gone through security and performance so far, and I have to do this for every single website? Turns out you don't. If we go to, where is it now? Let's go back out to here. There it is, to our site list, and then go to configs, my configs, create config. Let's give this a name, Bjorn's performance config. Then we select a site, rvingwithfamily.com. We select the plugin or service. That was the Hummingbird Pro. So you need to know which plugin is generating the performance tab, which in this case is the Hummingbird Pro plugin. Click on save. And now all the configuration settings for that plugin on this website are now saved right here. If you think back to the first tutorial in this series, if you haven't seen it yet, there's a link to it in the card up above and the description down below. We had a quick setup option where we can quickly set up all the plugins we need for a website based on certain configurations. In the first tutorial, because we hadn't customized each of these plugins yet, we used the default configurations. But now with every new website, we could apply Bjorn's configuration for the Hummingbird Pro plugin. So every plugin and service WPMUDEV provides, you can create your own configuration and you can apply it to every new website coming into your management with a few clicks. And if you have existing sites already in WPMUDEV and you want to update their configurations, click on Apply to Sites, choose the sites you want to apply it to, apply to one site, and now it's going to be applied to that website. So even though it's taking a long time for us to go through and set up these configurations one by one, if you set up what I just showed you, your life would be a whole lot easier for every future website that you begin managing inside WPMUDEV. So let's check out the SEO tab. This will be the last tab we do in this tutorial. First thing we see is an SEO check. If we click on the SEO link, it takes us to the website where we can see what this check is composed of. 75 out of 100, we have 6 SEO issues. We can enable schedule reports if we want to. That also schedules the check as well and then reports to you what it found. There are 6 recommendations. One is page heading. There's no H1 tag on the home page. It highly recommends that we add one. There's an update for the robots.txt required. It says we have one, but there isn't a link to the sitemap within it. And currently this file is unwritable by the plugin because for security reasons, I chmodded it so the access permissions are restricted. So you can't write to it unless you're inside the server in the hosting account, and that's totally fine. So you could add a sitemap link manually, and maybe yours won't have those strict permissions. Then you could just click on edit robots.txt and then add in a sitemap link. If you're wondering how to add the sitemap link to a robots file, there's a bit of a rule you have to follow to get it done right. I've got a tutorial about that in the card above and the description down below. The anchor usefulness tab, this means that you want to have the anchor text be useful. Instead of having click here or read more, you want it to be something like, for going to this page, for example, how to make an RV more aerodynamic. You'd want to have it say, here are ways to make an RV more aerodynamic, and have that be the link instead of click here. And so on this page, it's saying it found a generic anchor text that we want to change. The link text tab, this requires an update inside of the A tag for the link, which gives a bit of a description of what the link is about. Apparently there are 2 empty link tags, one on here and one on here. That's not even our website. But we do have eZoic ads running on the site. This just isn't on this website. Different domain. Duplicate IDs. When we're talking about CSS, IDs need to be unique. Classes can be used over and over, but IDs need to be unique. And apparently, all of these IDs have been used more than once. And these are generated not by me, GPT add. This must be eZoic add, eZoic. Astra, theme, search form, primary menu, and site navigation. So these 2 are introduced by Elementor, I'd say, because that's who created the site navigation and the primary menu. Astra, all the rest are eZoic. So it's not things that we did wrong on the site, but they are duplicate IDs that should technically be changed. Not a huge deal though. Duplicate area landmarks. These help people jump to sections of a page, kind of like an anchor link on a page. And they found some duplicate ones on the home page for search. And that's it. Not a big deal. I'm going to ignore that one. And I'm going to ignore the duplicate IDs. And I'm going to ignore, I'll keep the rest. Update those at a later date. Your site may have other issues, including any one of these listed here. Ours are all green for those, but those issues could crop up on your website. And you open any one of these tabs and it has a pretty good explanation of what it is and how to fix it. Then once it's fixed, you can come back into your site, you run the checkup again, and a bunch of this data is going to update. Specifically, this card up here and the SEO checkup card over here. We have a site crawler that crawls the site. So far, we don't have any scheduled site crawls, but it might be crawling right now with the SEO checkup. I'm not sure. Nope, it's not. But went from 75 up to 83. Only have 4 issues now instead of 6. And these 4 issues are the ones that we haven't addressed yet on this page right here. Those 4 right there. So you address those, and then your SEO checkup is good to go. The site crawler, we can run a scan, and it will crawl the URLs on the site to find any issues with the site linking. We have our content analysis. Let's click on this. This will take us to our post listing, I believe. Nope, but it has our 4 issues here. Our content analysis is down here. If we open that, we have posts that are a 40. Those need to be improved. Overall readability analysis. We have no posts and pages that are difficult, 3 that are okay, 35 that are easy. So if we go to our posts, we can actually see which ones of these are done right. So we have over here a readability column and an SEO column. This one is fairly difficult to read. And so that's one of the ones that was listed as okay. We have 3 okays and the rest are easies. You usually want to make sure that all your readabilities are easy. The SEO details way over here, those are from Rank Math. That's what the score is from. And these link counts are from Link Whisper. So this plugin from WPMUDEV adds another 2 columns in here. If you don't see these 2 columns, go up to Screen Options and just check to make sure that SEO readability and SEO are turned on. Those are the 2 from WPMUDEV. And I don't know why these have NA. Oh, it's because I didn't add a keyword. Let's find an older post. I've spent more time doing well on these ones. You see they're all green over here. The most recent ones are all yellows or NAs. I kind of got a little lazy on those. So if we find an older one, like this one right here, click on Edit. We can then go to the very bottom. Every post has a meta box, SEO analysis meta box from WPMUDEV. We just need to add our keyword right into here. The keyword for this page is how long can you boondock in an RV? Now it's updating the analysis. And boondocking means you're not connected to any electricity or anything. You're basically out in the woods on your own. So here it says we have 2 recommendations. There are stop words in the focus keywords, and your keyword density is less than 1%. I don't really pay attention to keyword density, so I'm going to ignore that. And stop words, I'm going to ignore that too, because this is the actual search query people use. So I'm going to ignore that too. And so according to me, this does okay. This is an okay optimization for this keyword. So now if we go back, let's update. Let's make sure we save what we did there. Even though it's not updating the actual post, might be required to update this in here. Let's go back to our post list, and we should see an update for boondocking. There it is right here. Now it shows as good for the SEO column. So we update the keyword in that SEO analysis tool for all of these, and then hopefully they'll all be good once you're all optimized. When the site crawler is finished running, it's found 55 issues. Let's click on those and see what those are. It's amazing how many issues you find when you use tools to look for them. 55 sitemap issues. 45 URLs are resulting in 404 errors. Well, that's not great. I recognize a lot of these pages. This one was renamed from 9 to 11. This was the page we worked on just now. I don't know why that's a 404. It's clearly not. It's right here. So that's a false positive right there. So clearly some of these are turning up false positives. Maybe all of them. Why that is, I don't know. Maybe the page was too long to load. Maybe it doesn't like ezoic ads on there. That page is there too. Here's our black hole for bad bots plugin. Those would generate 404s because those aren't real pages. Those are fake. To catch bad bots and block their IPs. 6 URLs are missing from the sitemap. Which ones are those? Those ones right there. We don't want those on there. These ones should be redirected anyway. They're kind of like category links. I don't have date and month and day as the permalink on the site, so I don't even know why these are there. But we can redirect those. I'm going to redirect them to the home page, because these pages are basically blog post listings, and so we can redirect them all to the same spot. And then all the others, oh, this one too, all these ones where it's just a date and a month, I'm going to redirect all those. And all the others, I'd have to go and check them manually, but I think they might all be false positives for 404s. Or Google Chrome has a cached version that I'm seeing that WPMUDEV isn't seeing. That's a possibility too. And there we go. A lot of those issues I'm going to ignore. In fact, I'll just rerun the scan, and then I'm going to ignore all the rest, because those are all, as far as I can tell. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to ignore them yet. First, I got to double check all of them to see if they're actually live pages in a new browser that's not caching. That doesn't potentially have cache pages that I'm seeing. So that site crawler scan is clearly quite useful. You can schedule the scan so you catch issues as fast as possible. We have a social card over here with Open Graph on, Twitter cards, large summary, and Pinterest verification is off. So if you want to make your website easily shareable on Pinterest, and I think this is required for rich pins where there's more information on the pin itself, you want to turn that on. Titles and meta, just to preview how your post would look in the search engine, I think that's fine. The only thing I might get rid of is the pipe character RVing with family. That's not a huge deal. We have the schema markup over here, and that's fine. we can schedule our reports. Both the SEO checkup and site crawler are currently turned off. And we have two more tools down here that we can activate. One is link building, which will help you auto link between pages on your site. If you don't have Link Whisper, which is a great plugin for interlinking, one of the best ones I've seen, this automatic linking might be helpful. Let's click on activate to see how that works. And activate again. So it looks like it's going to pick up the keywords that you have on your site, probably like the one that we entered in that boondocking page. It's going to look for that entire keyword in other posts and then automatically link back to your boondocking page. And I'm not sure that's a good idea, because when you're linking anywhere, either between your pages or from other sites to your site, you don't want to use the same link text as the anchor text over and over and over again. So if it just uses the keyword from the page to link to that page, it's going to be the same thing over and over if it finds many of them on your site, which might not be what you want. But you can turn on the places you want to insert links. I'd have just posts. And places you want to link to, I'd also have just posts. And that's how I'd set that up. You can also choose custom keywords for links by clicking on here. And here it says you can link keyword groups. So cats, I guess it would find all keyword phrases related to cats because it's saying keyword group. And then you can link it to a specific page. So it might be a little more diverse than what I was saying earlier up here, where it's just using the same keyword to link to your page over and over. Maybe it just detects variations of that keyword and uses that to link. You can also exclude keywords if you don't want those linking anywhere. You can exclude pages if you don't want those linking anywhere. You can change the length of text to auto link. You can have a max amount of auto links per page. There's more settings here, which I'll invite you to read through. I know you can read. And you can also deactivate the internal linking if you don't want to use that anymore. And then when you're done, save settings at the bottom. And we also have Moz rank. We're going to activate that. We need to enter our Moz credentials right here. And I have some. I have a free account, which I've had for ages. So let's copy these credentials in here. I imagine with a paid account, you get even more information. Or maybe not. I don't even know. But with the free account, we get some stuff here. Domain authority, external links to the homepage, links to homepage, homepage Moz rank, homepage authority. Pretty sweet. Then we come back out here and refresh. We'll have two new cards, one for auto linking, one for Moz. Scroll to the bottom to find those. Nope, we won't. There's Moz rank right here. Unable to retrieve data from the Moz API. I assume it's going to work itself out in a few minutes. And we have automatic linking right here. All the options that we saw on the page with the automatic linking can be changed right here, or you click on these and that takes you to the specific spot where you can change them in your site. So there's a lot you can do on the SEO tab to make sure that your SEO is dialed in on each website that you have managed inside of WPMUDEV. If you like what you saw with WPMUDEV, make sure you click the link in the description down below to come to this page, which is the WPMUDEV pricing page, and there's a coupon attached to it. This coupon is only available through that link. And you can see it's a coupon in the URL. Coupon equals WP Learning Lab members. And this will give you a 20% discount on any plan, monthly or yearly. And the 20% off is specifically for the very first payment you make. So if you sign up for a personal plan on a monthly basis, your very first monthly payment will have 20% off. But if you sign up for a yearly plan for the agency, you get 20% off that entire year, which would be of way more value than going for the personal monthly. But pick whichever one you think is best for you and make sure you lock in that 20% using the link down below in the description. And this goes live on November 1st. This recording right here is October 27th, so it's not quite live yet, but it'll be live by November 1st. So make sure you lock in that discount if you think WPMUDEV could help you in your business. Next up, check out this tutorial right here, which is part 3 in this WPMUDEV tutorial series, helping you set up your WordPress business for your client services. Check out that tutorial. If you haven't done so yet, click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. My name is Bjorn from WP Learning Lab. Until next time, keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.